What is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're doing well today. We're going to be jumping into my full review for the TRM Atom. Let's jump into it. So what we're going to do is do some size comparisons, profile, check the weight on this one, and then we'll jump into my thoughts and impressions. So let's kick it off with some budget knives. We're going to check it out against the Pony Stout here, which is a sub 3-inch knife. And then for the full size, a little titanium flavor coming in at a very affordable price is the Kubi Tedious. As you can see, this one is a little bit larger than both. I'm not quite sure why that one keeps shaking. And it is actually going to be thinner, as you'll see here in a minute when we check the profile. This is a very slicey knife. Let's check it out against the Para 3 from Spyderco. And we'll move the Tedious out the way and grab the Shaman from over here. I got stuff all over the desk today. As you can see, it is a little bit smaller than the Shaman. And a little bit, well, a lot bigger than the Para 3. But the Para 3, what I love about this, full-size ergos and very small, lightweight EDC, which is great for summer carry, and we're in the summertime as of the making of this one here. And then here it is against the Bug Out. And the Bug Out, I generally use the Atom as the other size comparison, so I have no other size comparison to give you. But this one here, being more that medium EDC, again, another great summer carry because of the weight on this one. Let's check out the profile, because I'm really curious against the Bug Out with the Flytanium contoured scales. Yeah, it's still thicker. Bug Out is still thinner overall. Let me see from the, yeah. But not by much. It's still pretty close. And we'll check it out against the Shaman so you can see it against a knife that is clearly a little bit thicker. And then we'll check it out against the Para 3, which is a, decent size thickness right there. They're about the same. So you're getting Para 3 thinness with near Shaman ergos, length, not ergos, near Shaman length. And the scale is cutting on, and let's check the weight on here. I think this is 4 ounces. Yeah, 4.2 ounces with the titanium. So the titanium adds a decent amount of weight to this, because I think this is normally like a 3.5 ounce knife from the factory. Let's jump into it. So ergonomically, this thing is really nice. Only complaint I have with these scales is there is a little bit of sharpness right here where that cutout is for the relief cut to get to the lock bar. So I do feel that a little bit in hand, and it's not awful. It's kind of scratchy, I think is the best way I can think to describe that. But it's very comfortable. It is very thin, but they do a nice job of making sure you have nice girth here for that grip, and it makes a big difference. I like this pattern. Not only is it very pleasing aesthetically, but it adds really nice grip to the actual handle, so it feels very nice in hand. And this pocket clip works really good. It goes in and out of the pocket very nicely, and it feels very comfortable in hand as well. This has a really good drop point with a nice sharpening choil here. So the plunge guide is way back here, and it very much reminds me of what you get out of a Spyderco. You get that very immediate termination, and then you get plenty of sharpening life out of this. So if you had this for a long time and you were using it and it required a lot of sharpening, you're going to be able to get a lot of life out of here. And it's a very well done edge from the factory. Grab some paper. You would think I'd have these ready to go by now, but just a great factory edge. I don't know what just happened there. Oh, what is happening? Did I, oh, yeah, I did. I guess from when I was using it. So let's just run it across the strap. Yeah, I think it just went away. So let's see here. And that's what happens when you run it across the cardboard. You can hit something that's in there that is going to, and it's still catching a little bit. I felt it about right there. So I probably should take it, a couple more times across the strap, but it did come with a really nice factory edge. And I don't know, that seems like it might, yeah, it might have fixed whatever it was that was on there. But that's the nice thing about maintaining your blades, is if you do use it on something harsh like cardboard, especially if you're using it on really thick cardboard, you can really easily just take it across a field sharpener. These, I'll link this down below because I really like these, especially out on the bench. Or if you want something just quick to take it across after you've, maybe broken down some boxes or something like that, it's really nice for that. But as you can see, as it moved through the paper, it's really slicey. They did a really good job with the stonewash on here. It looks really nice. Really like that a lot. 20 CV, very minimal branding on here, just really good build quality. It had no side to side play. I got a little hint going, but I don't think I've used thread locker on this one. I think it has the rubber washer that goes on the bottom side of this screw that does a pretty good job of holding it. But what you want to make sure to do is, if you've taken it apart and cleaned it, or if it's fresh from the factory, I would do this as well. I would pull that screw out. So I'm looking at the wrong side, and I would clean it, dry it, and make sure you dry on the inside of the scale as well. Make sure that it's completely dry so that when it's making contact, there's no oil in there that allows it to slip. This has broken in nicely. I can firm shake it home. You can't, this is not a light shake home knife. And this one here, I forget every once in a while, you actually want to make sure that you have the full thumb in there, because what'll happen is it'll land on the forge choil there, and then you can move your finger out and shake it the rest of the way, or you can just now I will say the opening is very satisfying. I did buy the rubber kit on here because I do not like these thumb studs. They're very uncomfortable. I wish they would just include like a black one. Even if they don't want to include the multiple colors, just include the black one with it. It does help a little bit with the launching here. I actually find that I go in underneath of the rubber, and that keeps it from digging into the finger. And it has a good detent for opening. Very nice, but it doesn't sound very satisfying on the close. It's very faint, so I may need to take it apart and clean the detent ball hole out. That could be all that it is. I had that happen on a knife recently, and I'm drawing a blank on what knife. Oh, it was the Veritas. The Veritas detent ball hole was super dirty. It had the oil go down into the detent ball, and then it was holding a bunch of dirt from the factory. And when I cleaned it out, it dramatically changed. It made a huge difference. This is a very interesting knife, because if you get it with the micarta or the G10, I think, and my editor will put it up on the screen, it's $250 if I recall correctly. And it's about an extra $150 for the titanium scales, which is a little bit pricey, but it also isn't just a flat titanium scale. There is a lot of knurling going on here and a very unique pattern, and there's extra time for milling and cost for the operating of the machine that does that. So I do kind of get it. Alternatively, what I would probably recommend, if you can't land an atom, I would look at the Tactile Maverick. Very close to being nearly as thin and slicey of a knife. Not as tall of a flat grind. These are coming in stock a little bit more regularly. It seems like Tactile is very close to getting them on that Friday, but I do throw the caveat in there that I had to send the Maverick back twice. The first time I could not get it centered. I didn't care about the side to side to play because I wanted it drop shut. And this one here will click, or gives that clicking feedback in the hand when you do it side to side, which means the washers haven't broken in, and I need to probably take it apart, clean it, polish them, put it back together, and I probably can get it to about where the atom is. Where the atom, you can't feel as much of a click, and it almost feels a little bit more solid, but you're getting that almost drop shut action out of it, whereas this one has more of the play to get that. But I mean, it is fall shut action. So they sent it to me like this, but it came centered, but I could not get the other one to center at all, and I didn't want to like torque on the handles or do anything weird with it, so I sent it back to them. And also on that first one, you could see the belt marks on here from where they sharpened it. They use a belt sharpener in the video that I saw of the tour of their factory, and I guess the belt was holding onto a little bit too much of the grit, and it looked like it kind of hit out on there on the tip, and I was a little disappointed to get a new knife like that. If I do it myself, that's on me. But to get that from the factory, I'm not really feeling that. I feel like it should come really nice from the factory, especially, it's not a cheap knife. And then when they sent it back to me, the one they sent me back had lock rock in it. And I was just like, oh no, I would rather have had the inability to center it than to have any type of lock rock. I need that locked up solid. So I sent that back, and then when I got the third knife back, that was flawless. There was not, it was centered. That one had the least amount of side to side play out of the three that I sampled from them, and the finish on the the blade was beautiful from the factory. Like I said, if I do that sharpening it myself or using it to cut with task, that's from using it, that's not out of the factory like that. I don't think it should come like that. I think they need to probably work on their QC a little bit, and I hope that they do as they ramp up and gain in popularity. Even if they had to take that titanium from $350 to $400 for that knife, if it meant that I was getting a quality product that was flawless from the factory with no issues that didn't need to be sent back, I think that would be okay, especially because this is a really good heat treat on this Magna Cut. But way too much time on that. We're talking about the Atom. This is an easy knife to recommend. I have no experience with the Shadow or the Neutron. I think it's the Neutron. I think that's the small one. I like this one the best. For me, it's the most ergonomic. It's very large hand friendly, very thin. It doesn't take up a lot of space in the pocket, very slicey. The heat treat on it seems to be fine. I don't know what that was definitely probably from me because I tested this when I got it right out of the box with no issues. Very slicey knife. And lock bar access on it is good. Lockup is good. I mean, no lock rock. It is solid up and down, side to side. I have to wrench on it to start to feel any type of play, and considering that I'm getting that type of action when disengaging the lock is great. It also goes to show how good the tune is for the detent, the fact that it won't shut without you pushing that lock over to get the detent ball off of the knife. One thing that I do notice on here, I don't know how straight the lock bar is. When I deploy it, you can see right below the 20 CV there, that wipes away. That's the dirt and oil that's caked up on the bar. So you can see it was right under the V on 20 CV, and where that is landing is way back here. So something right here is touching on the knife, and that might be the grind. It might not be the lock bar. And it's just a little something that I noticed, but eventually that'll wear and go away, and it won't be, and it's not a concern. It's not going to affect the performance of the knife at all whatsoever. This one here, my particular model, I've been able to get it centered once, but now after using it for a little while and the screw has not moved, it's kind of favoring again onto the show side. Let's see, there we go. I think that you can see that it favors the show side. And then like if I just give it a little bit of torque, that actually gets it, at least to my eye, gets it centered back. I don't know how well you can see that. So you can see the gap has gone from the show side, and then when I let go, it comes back a little bit. And it's just a little off. It's really not that big a deal. Curious to see what you think about the Atom. Do you have a TRM model at all? Have you experienced them? Are you interested in them? This is definitely very recommendable, especially for the price point of like the entry-level knife. And I do believe that TRM themselves offers options for scales. So if you got a G10 and you wanted micarta, I think they keep micarta in stock for scale options. They've done the, is it the Neutron, whatever the small one is, they did that one in a fat carbon, really nice looking, but it was quite more expensive to get that one. And I think that has to do with the fact that fat carbon in itself is not cheap, and it's not cheap to work with either. Leave your thoughts down below. Curious to see what you think about this particular one. Do you like the knurling titanium, or would you have gotten the micarta, the G10? I like to know that as well. I like the knurling on here, but I think with the price jump that it is for the scale, I could see why some people would probably say it's not worth it for the extra money. Shout out to everyone out there that leaves the likes, comments, and is subscribed. I love you guys. I appreciate all the support. Hope you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace. Two more to go. Let's do the Maverick.